Hey everybody, and welcome to House of Holocrons, episode 32. This one is, of course, going to be going over the amazing things that we've seen in Mandalorian and Bad Batch, not to mention some of the fun news and the crazy speculations we could have with Star Wars celebrations, and a lot of other rumors flying around. Rumor mill's been churning away these last few weeks. I think that's because everyone's waiting for the next big thing. Like they're not able to handle the fact that there hasn't been a big announcement yet. But it's only like what
Yeah.
celebration is next week.
No, it shouldn't be next week.
I can't remember. Celebration's pretty soon. I think I just
We
saw
just,
people saying they were leaving probably next week.
it's like I have to look up the dates. But speaking of, we do have two shows that we know are for sure coming out.
Yes.
April 7th is Star Wars Celebration.
Okay.
That is London, right?
Yes, over in London.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have two series coming out. We have the children's show. I think that's the one that the dates changed. Because originally we had two shows coming out on May 4th. And one was the child's show. So I'm looking up because I can't remember.
All right. Oh, pleasure to see you, Kenny. Welcome. Welcome. Yes. I know the rumor mill though has been speculating a lot, which has been crazy because a lot of people have also been talking about the failure of Mandalorian season 3 due to like numbers and all this stuff because they're comparing it to Kenobi and they're comparing it to all these other things that had these other like Book of Boba Fett had bigger launches. I'll just put my 2 cents in real quick and just tell everyone. Like many have others said, Darth Chaco makes it the point very well in his videos. Season 3 of Mando is still like zero point 0.6 million more viewers than season 2 was.
It's just something for people to talk about. It's
It's
not.
the
I mean,
strangest thing for people to complain about. They find the strangest topics to be upset.
it's just they want to talk about Mando. I mean, that's everything. There's YouTube's flooded with something you may have missed from Mandalorian or just
Yeah,
repeated the same thing. That's just one of the things that are repeated
right.
is the fact that it there it goes. The fact that um Mandalorian is not has the same numbers of the first season. Well, it definitely because when the first season came out, it had the spark and the draw of
Yeah.
everyone. Not everyone loves Star Wars and Mandalorians. It
Hmm.
won't sit with every audience, so it's not going to be the perfect show.
I agree. I agree. This has been one of the best seasons so far.
Compared to what is on right now, I'm assuming that's probably one of the top rated shows that's currently airing.
Yeah, and I'd
I,
say honestly, as a fan, the lore that we're getting, it's like it's really filling in Mandalorian culture, which is awesome. But we don't want to get too far into Mandalorian right off the bat, guys. Why? Because that's the juicy topics. We do know though, yes, there's the kids show that is slated for release here, what very soon, correct? And then there is the what was the other one? The
well, we got the second season of, um, man, where did I post that? It's so much drop. That's the
yeah.
problem.
I mean, we've got High Republic books getting ready to come out. I know a lot of people have gotten their
Yeah.
early release for the not Cadillac, Cataclysm book, which I know I'll be excited to get that one when it finally releases. We also have a lot of Bad Batch to
I'm
go over. I think one of the other big things
failing
is the
today.
story trailer that we got for Jedi Survivor. That one
Yes.
was really amazing. We got to see a lot more of what's really going on around Cal's life. We got to see that those Bedlam
Ah,
Raiders had that orange lightsaber that looked a lot like Cal's. So a lot of people thought they had just taken. I personally thought, hey, they just took one of Cal's lightsabers. I don't think so anymore. It seems like they have their own lightsaber because that dude was
you talking
using
about
it.
the Jedi?
No, not the Jedi.
Oh.
There's a Bedlam Raider that Cal fights
Oh
with
yeah,
an
yeah,
orange
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
thought it was Cal's saber, but it seems like it's not. Like he still had his fully intact on him. So like this guy just has a lightsaber too, which looks oddly like Cal. So I don't know if it was like his other one, maybe the other side of
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, one of the big news we get the big drop. We got a lot of cool footage. I know you were
Yes.
excited
Oh
about
yeah.
that. Um,
Well, not to mention, yeah, I even made a single post about it. The lightsaber we see on the enemy his lightsaber. So that's right. The bad guy, or not, I wouldn't say the bad guy, but the perhaps main antagonist to Cal Kestis in this game is definitely a Jedi from the High Republic. Like
I
100% a High
mean,
Republic Jedi.
look, at first I thought it when you because you I saw your post
Mm-hmm.
to and I hadn't seen the trailer. I was like, well, that sounds silly because how late this is. But then I
Yeah.
saw the robes and then how he talks. He talks. He especially refers to an empire instead of the empires, which means he's seen empires before.
Right. And still have no idea exactly on his race, name, or any of that kind of stuff. But
Sounds human,
he sounds
but yeah.
human. He's definitely speaking Galactic Basic easily. He's like a very gray skinned. Some people were saying, what if he's an Avrini, but his eyes aren't all black, his teeth aren't sharp. So I don't believe he's Avrini.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's gonna be hard to tell because the lighting is so dark in that
yeah,
game.
and there's
So
so
yeah,
much. There are so many species and everything in the world. So, and then of course we got the Gendai though. That's still going to be awesome. We got to see a touch more of him, just kind of coming out of a house. They didn't really talk about him much. I'm still super excited to see what that guy's going to bring because he's older than the Republic. He's older than the
yeah.
Empire. So there could be a lot of really awesome that he brings
And
to the
it
table.
sounds like there's gonna be a lot of lore drops in that game, which is
Yeah.
crazy for an action game if you think
Hmm.
about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's probably what's gonna like really push this one too, and kind of make it feel more like one of the Souls game that it mirrors to a degree. Because Souls game have a lot of crazy lore, but you have to go find it. Like I would love to find random tomes and books because it looks like Seer is in this like library. So maybe you have to collect old Jedi texts and tomes and holocrons for her, and you get to read them, and there's just like super awesome deep lore inside about like the Zepho, what happened to them, and the origins of the Jedi, maybe just crazy things like that. I feel like they're not afraid to drop as much big lore on us now. Like maybe they've got a good writing team, they've got their foot underneath them, they've got a base. They realize what the fan base really enjoys and what we want to know more of.
Yeah, though I expect now that the High Republic's receive more traction, I expect a lot of the older lore now will be the High Republic
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like I said before, I think they're still kind of afraid to tread on the Old Republic. So I think the High Republic they feel like they have
Mm-hmm.
freedom to reveal stuff for,
Yeah.
and that's fine. It's an era that we don't know a ton about of still. We've had a lot of books, but compared to everything else, it's still probably one of the fewest explored uh and depth of like lore and books and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is, I feel like because the High Republic fan base is one of the most accepting Star Wars fan bases, like just like yeah, we'll take it. I mean, because everyone wants to make jokes about it, but we love Geode. He's literally a ladies' man, sentient rock that is one of the best co-pilots in the High Republic, and he's
I
literally
mean,
just a rock.
Star Wars lore's had way weirder characters than Legends, so that's nothing compared to Legends. Legends, I mean, they had this green rabbit that was like a
Oh,
cartoon green rabbit that was like a Han
Jackson.
Solo character. Yeah.
He's not Legends anymore. He was in one of the certain point of view Empire Strikes Back tales where he goes and actually speaks with Lando on Cloud City. So they've made him canon again. Yeah, and it's just as weird. He's like, imagine Bugs Bunny if he did a lot of methamphetamines and drank a lot of caffeine and like was a space pirate kinda. That's that guy.
So anyways, no, yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of that, and then we got date change, which I found it by the way.
Hmm.
And so the date change we had was the Young Jedi Adventures, which is a kid show that was originally going to be on May 4th. Now it got bumped up a week to April 26th.
Okay.
And then they also dropped an explanation of that, which they confirmed it is set during the High Republic.
Hmm.
So, speaking of the High Republic, it's in
Yep,
the
we
High
get some
Republic,
there.
which will be the first series that's staged in the High Republic. So that's
Yeah.
a thing. This is geared towards really young children, which is great. Star Wars is good for all ages, and they kind of need a show.
Oh, and it's going to be so
Um,
fun to let my kid watch this. I can't wait to have my 1 year old get to watch
and
Star Wars and actually start with something that he'll like be able to kind of more
we get
comprehend.
to see younger Yoda in it as well.
Yeah. And the Yoda
Um,
comics have been awesome, so I'm down for
yeah.
all the younger Yoda.
Then they also will get to see, and also on May 4th, that was going to air alongside it, which is going to be Star Wars Visions Season 2. And so we'll still get that on May 4th, which is
Sounds good.
the anime Star Wars shorts. So,
And I imagine they'll do it like last time. I guess they'll probably just drop the entire thing at once.
yeah, probably. That's what they've been doing, except for the major shows.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah, and
down.
then we got some mentioning of, you know, characters maybe showing up soon. Um, but I think I mean, we got a cool drop that the guy that played the scientist, his son was in the last show.
Oh yeah,
His son he was a background character.
that's awesome. I always love
Um,
that bringing the family into Star Wars. You know, I would. I don't blame them.
Speaking of bringing, characters into Star Wars, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that
What
is a big
an
one.
episode for sure. I'm both.
Yes,
Honestly, again,
yes,
I was
both.
satisfied with both episodes.
Yeah.
We had yeah, pretty strong episodes in my opinion.
Oh, it was another amazing 3 a.m. in the morning for me, sitting there just like I don't think I can go to sleep now because I'm too excited because this was so awesome.
Shall we hit on Bad Batch and the Tipping Point, which is the
Yes,
name of the
yes.
episode?
We will begin the batch that is bad and
So we
tipping point.
actually
It really was. Oh, it sticks
we
up.
start off with a big Easter egg drop,
Hmm.
which is Balmora.
Yeah.
And this is where it starts off is Balmora, which Balmora was originally introduced in the Legend books, a prominent place that never made canon. It also appeared in the Old Republic MMO games.
Yeah. Big weapons factories.
So yeah, but we get to see that, and so now it's like fully like in case we weren't for sure if it's canon, it's for sure canon now.
Hmm.
So
And yeah, Balmora has
um,
been a huge part of the
yeah,
galactic conquests back and forth for eons. So it's a very, very prominent planet. There'd be a lot of fun stuff there if they ever end up going back or exploring it.
yeah, it was it was funny thing is I think it was first introduced in the novel that was about when Luke was fighting clones of Darth Sidious. So
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
yeah, in case by the way, if you thought that cloning Darth Sidious was a new idea, no,
Yeah, yeah,
George
yeah.
Lucas did that in the original novels. Um, But yeah, we get to see more clone commandos,
Yeah.
and they're kind of being used
Coruscant.
as like pre-death troopers. They're like fellow scientists and stuff around.
Yeah.
So it's like they're using them until they get the death troopers, and
Mm-hmm.
plus I guess the death troopers are going to replace them. Until
Right.
then, they're that's what they kind of are doing, at least for the cloning guys. But we get this first off. We see like a clones being imprisoned,
Which that
yeah,
was.
being
I thought.
taken to the
Thankfully,
facility.
yes. I thought it'd be far worse than it was, but yeah, they're very much just like finding whatever reason they can. No doubt, they just want to get rid of these clones.
Or repurpose them
Yeah.
for because the scientist he definitely gives off a vibe he's doing something with them.
Oh yeah. Very very creepy. Very 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 creepy vibe. You know, always has that like we can make this easy, but you chose the hard way. It's like you're asking them to do like horrible things. Of course they don't want to.
Well, and this is kind of jumping farther into it, but the fact that he messes with poisons and stuff,
Yeah.
and also like DNA, I'm wondering if the reason why we lose a lot of the clones is actually he makes like a virus that kills a lot of them.
That would make
That's
sense.
what I kind of was thinking later on. I was thinking about the
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Just a
I
major
wouldn't put it
weapon.
past them.
No, not
The
at
only
all.
thing that the only thing I could see that he wouldn't do that is because he still sees value in the clones.
Well, at least
But
the ones like
yeah,
Omega and all of them. But yeah, before we get too far into
but that prison
Hemlock.
ship was attacked by Echo and Fireball, which is a clone we kind of
Yep,
meet.
newer clone we get to meet. Was Rex in there too? Was he like in the captain's chair?
No, but Gregor was.
Gregor, that's who it
He
was.
was
It was
first,
Gregor.
yeah.
Personal favorite. Love Gregor the most. He's my
So
bestest
you can
boy.
see Gregor. So Fireball, I believe, is a new clone. I didn't see anything
Yes,
about him.
I do believe so. And the
Um,
internet is swooning. All those people who do love a good clone, they be loving Fireball. People are accepting him with open arms.
Yeah, he's got cool armor. He is on the style of what's his name? Um the camo Mandalorian, not
Oh,
camo. The,
Gree.
yeah, he's got the armor style of Grease, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing he worked underneath him. And also, in case you don't know Gregor, he used to be a clone commando
Oh yeah.
originally, so he's nothing to scoff at. Um, and yeah, so
Very
they stopped the
successful
ship.
raid. Very
Yeah, they
successfully
stopped
too.
the duck the get in the ship. They
They take out the weapons. They
rescue
take out
the
the
clones.
engines.
It's funny they still are um doing their stun blast on the
Mm-hmm.
stormtroopers, even though they're not clones anymore, because they did it on those clones,
I
on
almost,
those stormtroopers.
yeah, I almost feel like it was like, are they just trying to like make a point where they're like, we don't even have to kill you. Like we're not
I don't
resulting
know.
to murder. We're not like the, or, because that's what everyone is really trying to do. Everyone's like, we're not the Empire. We're not gonna act like these guys. We can't do that to them. We can't be them. Then we're just as bad as they are.
So then they try to interrogate the Imperial officer who kills himself,
Yep. Immediately the mouth electric
eh,
thing.
which is the same way that the weird clone assassin killed himself a
Mm-hmm.
few episodes ago. The same process. Some kind of the secret agent, instead of poison or whatever, it's
Yeah.
electrocute you.
In our world, they had cyanide pills. In this one,
Yeah.
they have electric things. They just
It
fry
sounds
themselves.
it seems more painful, but probably faster.
Yeah. No
But yeah,
choice of antidote.
while they were finishing up, we get a kind of a early Star Destroyer appears,
Mm-hmm.
which is I think more of the clone style. It's like a kind of retrofitted clone. Well,
Venator
it's
class,
more of
yeah.
yeah, and we get kind of this which is really awesome. This almost proto Imperial March intro where like dun dun and it like stops and it wasn't the full instrument. So I don't know if you noticed. It sounded
I
awesome.
actually didn't. I'll need to. I will go back just to listen to that.
You
That
should
sounds
watch it.
awesome. I will.
It starts it and then stops, but
Okay.
it doesn't have the full instrumental. It's like they took part of the imperial the intro of it and put out like did some modification to it.
Awesome. I'm always happy
So it's
when they
like
do that.
yeah.
I love how they reuse
Well,
music and throw it in for different scenes. It's
well,
really
and it
awesome.
also it fits because like I said, this is the early Empire, so yeah,
Yeah.
of course you wouldn't have the same big epic intro.
Right.
We also see still no TIE fighters being used. They're still using the clone fighters. They left the early Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
believe what U-wings is what they were called. The early Tie
I,
Fighter.
I don't remember, but we see him in Episode 3.
Yep.
The it's like the clone version of the TIE Fighter.
Yes.
Um, then we go back to Crosshair.
Which again, Crosshair is not gonna have a good morning.
Yeah, so he seems strapped down to a table. He's being we see him being tortured. They ask him, well, first they ask him, hey, where are they at? And he's like, oh, you want the girl. They know he knows immediately what they're
Mm-hmm.
after.
Yep.
And he doesn't give it up, surprisingly. They torture him. And the thing is like
But in a
you
sense, he
think,
also doesn't know.
well, when you think, I mean, he could give him information, he could dump.
Yeah.
He could do like, hey, I'll help you find him, or and he doesn't. He doesn't say a word.
True.
And this is new for Crosshair that he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
follow Imperial orders. He
He just,
doesn't.
yeah. I mean, he just
He
killed that
doesn't.
lieutenant.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't kill the lieutenant. That's the thing is
In the last episode.
oh, the last episode. Sorry, I
Yeah,
thought
no,
you were
yeah,
talking about
no.
the
That's why
scientist.
he's there. Yeah, that's why he's there. He killed the lieutenant. He's sticking up for his brothers again. He's not.
Yeah,
His chip
he's
isn't
getting.
working anymore.
Well, she shows him several times of getting tortured, and he still doesn't give in any information.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he's changed. I mean, torture is not an easy thing to bear, even for them. So the
Right.
fact that he is no longer completely thinking about himself, and in case you're starting to think that he does a couple more things, where he breaks out, because he gets drugged, but still somehow is comprehensive.
Probably because he has
He
a super brain.
he
It's the
kills
same
the other
reason he can. Yeah.
stormtroopers.
He can kill those stormtroopers because he can shoot a mirror
Yeah.
that's floating in the air.
But then when he comes to the scientist, she begs for his life. He spares her, which is not normal. He usually
Mm-hmm.
doesn't spare at people. That's
Yeah.
not his thing. He doesn't stun blast anybody. He kills. and he actually stuns her. He doesn't kill her, which is that's something he doesn't normally do. And then he risks being killed again
Yep.
by trying to warn his brothers. He sends out a warning message,
Yeah,
which
instead
is
of
again,
escaping, instead of trying to go to a ship, he immediately goes to warn them.
and uh, and we see him still fight, and actually he misses for once because he's
Mhm.
showing how heavily he drugged. He's like he's still OP, but he has a weakness. He still
Yeah.
can kill people, but he'll miss a few times in the process.
Right. He misses once and the other two sink him. So it happens.
And then he gets this crazy green, green poison where the scientist, which is
Has
hemlock.
his own yeah, it's like
Yeah,
his special poison that he made himself. And
I
he
will
has a
say
tolerance to it, of course.
that these names are so not creative.
Yeah, they're
Hemlock uses a poison that he is immune to, of course. Yeah. Okay. We get him afterwards after Crosshair, the debacle with that. We
Mhm.
show him talk with Tarkin, so we
I
see
hope they
Tarkin.
reunite, but I'm not confident he will. No, I don't know. I hope Crosshair can reunite with them because I believe. Let's see, because what he sends out is what he sends out Order 88. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like
isn't that
yeah.
one of the episode titles, or was it Order 99?
No, it is one of the mission titles, and it's not order. It
Oh,
is
Mission 99 or something, right?
mission. Oh, Plan 99. So
Plan
I think it was
99.
Plan 88 originally,
Yeah, so
or
maybe
something
Plan
like that.
99 is go get Crosshair. Yeah, I feel
Possibly.
like they are dangling the idea, and it's gonna get yanked somehow. I mean, hey, if
Well,
Crosshair is the one to sacrifice himself, I could see him doing it. Like, I could actually really see
yeah.
Crosshair
Well,
sacrifice
the
himself.
next. So we have the next episode is the finale. We have
Yeah.
2 episode premiere. We have the summit, which it's obvious what the summit is.
Yep.
If you haven't figured it out, it's where this
Mount
facility is.
Tantus.
It's on a volcano mountain thing. I don't think it's a volcano, is it? It's
It's
just a mountain.
no Mount Tantus.
Yeah. And then the episode after that's called Plan 99. So, we're going to have a big finale. Either they're all going to reunite Happy Day or Crosshair is going to redeem himself and die in the process.
I mean, a lot of people could die in the process. We could lose a lot of people in this last few episodes. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're going to have to because that's how things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we know they don't
But at
live.
the same time, like I'm still super surprised that we've seen Gregor, we've seen Echo now, we've seen Rex, we've seen all these clones that
You've seen Cody.
yeah. Where's Cody and where's Wolf? Because that's the only thing I'm wondering.
I mean, we could find like Wolf or something on the facility. Maybe he's
Yeah.
already in prison.
I really
Maybe
do hope
because
I hope we find out what happens with Cody
with
though
Wolf's
too.
personality, I could see they imprison him
Mhm.
early.
I'm beginning to
He's
think
very different from typical clones.
yes, very different. But I'm also beginning to think that Cody's not going to have a happy ending. I don't think he made it.
Considering we don't see him with Rex later on, possibly. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense. As we see him in like Rebels, we see Rex that he is not with Cody because they were pretty good friends.
Yeah, if Cody was alive, he would be with Rex. I would imagine.
So yeah, we
He would have
probably
been
will see something
Rex,
eventually happen to Cody.
yeah, Cody would have been with either Rex or Obi-Wan. That's it.
Yeah.
But
That would have
it
been
is
cool to
oh.
see if we had like the Obi-Wan live action. We had like just two bros hanging out in the in the shack outside of Mos Eisley.
taking down a few sand people here and there, making sure Luke doesn't kill himself.
That would have been cool, but
Yeah, I love it. I like it.
that's pretty much the episode. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a good episode. We
Very
got a
good
lot of
episode.
I will say that every episode with Crosshair has been good.
True. When we finally get the whole batch in an episode, it's been a damn good episode. Very, very true.
Yeah, so we get the final 2 episodes next, and that's it. We'll be done with Bad Batch season 2. Did they say if we're getting a third season? I know they weren't planning on doing too much more of the Bad Batch, but
You know, I honestly won't be able to tell you until after I see what happens in this last episode, because if a lot of them die and it's very finale and it is like a legitimate ending, then I'll be happy with the 2 and there shouldn't be 3. But
I mean, we'll probably find out in Celebration as well, possibly.
very true, Jess. Saving Luke from himself is a full-time job. He's a Skywalker. It's what they do.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think they'll give us a full on Rogue One treatment where
Mhm.
they purge the entire team. Um, but yeah, there's something big that's gonna happen. Um, I think they possibly will have a season three. Like I said, I think we'll find out at the finale.
Yeah.
And then also in Celebration. Because I doubt this would be a great time to say, hey, season three is coming, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
Probably 2025 or something
Well,
crazy.
I guess if nothing else, yeah, with Celebration coming out here soon, Celebrations is going to be just nutty with drops. It's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
it's the good thing too is with Celebration, we'll find out confirmation of a lot of these shows that we don't know much about.
Hmm.
Oh, if for sure if we're getting something, because we all are told there's supposed to be two for sure movies coming out. One main series and one kind of a spin-off.
Hmm.
So hopefully we get a trailer for the new. I don't have my hopes up for it because I don't want to be let down, but it would be awesome if we get, like a kind of an early teaser for the new
Yeah.
um sequel.
Yeah, I'd be down.
I don't know what to call it
I'd be
now.
so happy for that. Let's see. Just says I think I think they're setting up to at least let Tech have a happy ending. Are you serious? Come on now. You know, the millisecond someone is having a quote unquote good time, that dude
Tech
is
can't.
totally gonna die.
Tech doesn't have happy endings.
Yeah, Tech's
He
gonna
has.
sacrifice himself for his love, and it's gonna be the
I'm just
last
saying.
thing.
I'm saying he doesn't have that emotion.
That is highly illogical. But, you know, again, like you
Anyway,
said,
yeah.
Bad Batch has been really good these last two episodes, and I hope. Hey, we got two more to go. Keep it up. It's going to be awesome, and then this, I think it'll leave a really good taste in everyone's mouth for Bad Batch. Maybe get more of a following because it's fun. It's a good show. It's not supposed to be Clone Wars. Just because it looks like
Yeah.
Clone Wars and has clones doesn't mean it has to be Clone Wars. But it is good in its own thing. It's Bad Batch, especially now if you were to go through and watch all of season one and then into the season two, it'd be probably an amazing watch if you didn't have
Yeah.
the wait a week and think about it in certain episodes.
You know, it's crazy how you can do a show based around Order 66
Hmm.
that doesn't have to show Order 66.
Yeah, yeah, very true. It's set right around all that time period. They're involved with all kinds of lives that have been changed. He is totally
Speaking
falling
of,
for that pirate lady. Yeah.
speaking of Order 66, I think it's time to
Ho
talk about Mandalorian,
Oh, so Mandalorian opens with
the Foundling,
the
by the way.
Foundling, already amazing. We're seeing training. We're watching Mandalorians train in armed combat,
Yeah, we could
blasters,
see.
flying, wrestling.
I love this seeing the mix of old and new styles. We get
Hmm.
the kind of Din's the new Mandalorian series style armor. We get some of the old Clone War style of the armor, which you could think of the Jango Boba Fett.
Yep.
We see because that's like when I first saw Mandalorian, I was afraid they got rid of it. So it's
Oh
still
yeah.
nice to see it around.
And some of them are
We
fused
get
together. That's
yeah
now a whole new thing is where some of them are just one solid chess piece, but it's just those three pieces put together, which is pretty cool.
yeah it's you see because it's either like repairs or the
Hmm.
progression. I mean because yeah like we see with Bo-Katan later on that losing armor breaks, gotta replace it.
Yeah.
So we also see that well they're all training, so we can see all the different weapons in the fighting cells, such as shooting blasters in the
Yep.
open water. That's awesome weaponry. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's super like it's so awesome. They're all like fighting. You see like spears and
Yeah.
and,
Yes. And
and
then the guys are just literally like,
flamethrowers.
they're just going
There,
into
there's a
into the
firing line. Yeah, there's a firing line. It pans out. They're shooting into the lake. It's like, what are you practicing?
pulling the trigger fast.
But yeah, then we go to I believe he just goes to the Grogu practicing force training by
Well,
moving rocks that were actually
yeah,
crabs
that are just
that
crabs. Yeah, it
yeah,
was
he wasn't
adorable.
actually force moving them. He was actually just being distracted by possible food.
It's cute, and that was the whole point, and it's
I
adorable.
know. It's funny because usually we see something like that. It's like them practicing
Yeah.
moving rocks with the force, meditating. He looks like he's meditating. Then you see the little crab and it's like, and then he gets up. They're all crabs. So yeah, he's just watching food.
Yeah, he's just trying to eat a crab. He's just doing his thing. But yeah, Din then takes him over, which I think is hilarious. Even I was like, Din, what are you doing taking a baby into a fighting ring? And he's like, nah, man,
he's
he's
a
got this.
he's
He's
a, he's a
he's like
he's middle aged.
53 years old.
Yeah, he dumps his like, all right, kid, duel him, and we get to see the kid from the first episode,
Ragnar.
which we later find out was Ragnar, which
Ragnar.
we find out later is also the son of Paz,
Yep.
which makes sense. I mean, earlier when we were talking about the banners, that one of
Mhm.
them looks was the banner we saw
Clan Vizsla banner,
the
yeah.
Death Watch, yeah. So with the Vizsla from the clone Death Watch,
Mhm.
it makes sense that he is a variant of the Vizsla banner. So
Yeah.
because he's part of Clan Vizsla. So we get to see them duel with the blaster darts.
Yeah, little nice wrist blaster darts.
I can't believe it fits Grogu. When I saw it, I was like, there's no way that fits
Yeah, they
Grogu.
strapped it on him though. They strapped it on him. I love even Bo though. Bo at first is like, you sure about this? And he's like, no.
Possible
Kid's got it.
Disney parks toy cell right there.
100%.
So it totally looked like the plastic watch band.
Now, before we get too far into the fight scene, though, I do want to talk about something I thought that was really interesting. Did you notice that one of those younglings has a leather helmet?
I did not. I have to go look.
And they've shown him a few times, but there is one youngling that has a helmet. It's got a visor, but it is 100% leather. And I was very interested by what that could have been. Like, is he a Tusken Raider Mandalorian?
Is it like a leather, like, see now I'm curious, is it like, does it look, or is it just like leather lined, or is it
no, it's like you can especially when you see the back of it, it has like straps on the back and there's a soft goods underneath it, and it's just like these.
I've never noticed that.
It's like a hard leather outer side. It's like probably like a boiled leather on the out, and then like the cheeks poke out. It's a strange helmet, but it's interesting.
I have to rewatch it.
Maybe I think they were drawn to him, and Din wants to be a proud dad and get it Vizsla. I don't think Din wants to be a proud dad at all and get it Vizsla, because as Ragnar is getting at Grogu, being like, he's too young to fight, I'll kick his ass. Din is, of course, like, he who does not know should not speak. This is the way. Yeah. He's like, and so he kind of schools the little boy.
So not going too further into this episode, spoiling anything, but what happens to Ragnar? I think this episode is definitely the start of his villain origin story. he gets schooled by Din. You know, he gets the shit. He's like, "Hey, you need to know what you're talking about." And then he loses to Grogu, and then he also gets kind of scolded by his dad.
Yep.
And then something else happens really bad to him. He's just having a bad time.
Ragnar gets the first two shots off against Grogu because Grogu's kind of apprehensive and like, and then finally he's like, I believe in you. You got this. And Grogu literally kind of like puffs up a little bit. You literally watch him kind of go.
The Force.
Yeah, exactly. You watch him puff up and he lifts his head a little higher and he just starts like bounding over the guy like he's nothing. And then blah, 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 blah. 3 shots right in a row. Done. Wins. And yeah, like you said, Paz then even looks at him and goes, he who does not know should not speak. This is the way. So I really think that's the thing that I like about the Creed, though. I understand, yeah, they're culty. Yeah, they take things very far sometimes. But if nothing else, the second you're a part of the Creed, you're accepted. Period. And they treat you like family. As much as Paz might dislike Din for having the Darksaber, for being an apostate and coming back, you know, being redeemed and all this, he's not going to let it really get to him. He's not going to openly just act like a prick, because we'll even see more of him being nice later on after poor Ragnar, pouting after being defeated by a tiny little green thing, goes off on his own to kick a rock and is immediately kidnapped by a giant raptor bird thing.
Yeah, it is part of his personality. You know, he's really blunt and straightforward, and he's kind of more aggressive. You know, he's the big guy, and he's gonna strut his peacock feathers when he can.
So a fun thing I saw one big YouTuber talking about. He believes that creature might have been a Shriok.
I don't think it is, but it is very similar to the shape of a Shriok.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't think it is because they would immediately said it was, because that's the symbol for Death Watch.
Right.
So they wouldn't know immediately what it is. Plus, they're not native to where they currently are.
But
But
they
it is
did,
very similar.
and they call it a raptor a lot, but that's all they
Yeah,
refer to it as. So I kind of agree that it's not.
because they're native
But of course, they would
to.
choose this planet. They would want a planet that's going to have
I think it's Concordia where they're native or something like that.
the moon of
It's one of
Concordia
the.
is the moon.
Yeah,
Yeah, the moon of Concordia is where Din grew up, and
I
I don't know
it's
where
one of
exactly
the.
they are. They didn't tell us.
It's
But
not. I don't think it's. It's one of the Mandalorian
yeah,
planets
it's a
that
Mandalorian
part of
system. Um,
Shikaku was native to,
yes,
which
but I
is the
do
symbol for
really,
Death Watch.
I really like the fact that they're here though, because of course this covert would want to be somewhere where the wildlife is dangerous. That's the Mandalorian way. Find the hardest spot and dig in. But yeah, he gets kidnapped. They try to fly after him, and sadly they are not successful because the bird is far faster than all of them and does not
And they
require
also
fuel.
and they also so we have two things. We say don't shoot at him because he'll kill the kid.
And
So
apparently
they'll
he's
kill
done it
the kid if
before.
they fired him, and they all the the caring dads immediately rush off with the jetpacks, run out of fuel, and then of course the cool-headed Bo-Katan,
Yep.
being a smart strategic woman that she is like,
I
I'm
used
getting
my
in the
ship.
ship.
Yeah, I just got on my ship.
If
What are you doing?
Din thought about it, his starfighter would have been able to catch up to it easily.
Yeah.
He didn't. He was rash, like the meathead that he is,
Yep.
and
Yep. The
get
big old
packed away.
himbos. Himbo Paz and
And
Himbo
Bo's
Din.
like, it's just so funny. She's like, "Bye guys," and just,
Yeah, just and I would imagine they even look up. They probably had a moment where they looked at each other like, we should have done that. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not completely the wrong thing because
Mhm.
the time that it takes to get in the ship, you may need to have somebody so she can follow the jetpack people out there. So
Right.
having jetpack people immediately follow it isn't the worst case scenario. But
Yes.
yeah, it Din probably should have gotten his fighter because it's smaller and faster. But
She's able to follow the raptor back to its nest, get a little map and layout of the area, goes back to the covert, and they all meet up to plan things out to get ready to go rescue the youngling, as of course they are not about to let Ragnar get consumed by this evil creature.
But then we go to well, Grogu wants to go, and when the armor tells her, no, this is not, you're not, you're
Yep.
still a foundling, you're not ready.
Stay
for that.
here and
She
learn.
calls them to teach them into the forge and talks about the tradition of smithing and
And we see
Mandalorian
we see him
culture.
walk the fastest he's ever walked in his entire life.
So she ends up making him something, which, let's say, he is spoiled
Dude.
for armor compared to the others. The others just get this like crappy helmet that they're, they give him a crappy helmet probably because the leather one, probably because they're gonna outgrow it so quickly.
Yeah.
And he's getting, chainmail and this. I mean, I guess because he's not gonna grow much bigger. So I guess that's why. And he gets she's making him a rondelle style chest plate.
Yep. With the Mudhorn signet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's protected. He's very protected. That thing covers most of the mass of him.
Well, the half of his being is his head, so
Yeah.
he probably does need a helmet eventually.
Or just
Even
like
though
a band or something.
Silly.
Cover that big forehead, that six head of his.
But the speech and then the armoring triggers a flashback. And guess
One of
what?
the best flashbacks ever.
Yeah.
It's Order 66 time. Dun, 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 dun.
But with Grogu, it's not too bad. Because
No.
there's still so much mystery. It is kind of, I wish we could see him pre-Order 66,
Mhm.
but at least we're getting something.
Yeah, but we get to see a lot of other Jedi who have their back to him as they're, of course, leading him through hallways. Yep, protecting him.
The 501st.
Yep, those
Vader's
are
Fist.
Vader's Fist, the 501st. Those are the blue striped. That's where Rex belonged and everything.
That's the clones that Anakin brought with him to invade the Jedi Temple to slaughter the Jedi and the younglings.
Yep, and they did it without any questions.
But one of the Jedi protecting Grogu survives.
So cool.
And
I honestly, me and my, we squealed.
I don't know if you know this.
So
This
happy.
wasn't I bet you. I don't know if you know this. This isn't the first time he's played this character before. This is the second time he's played this character.
Are you talking about the other one who has a different first name but same last name in Attack of the Clones?
No, I'm talking about the same name completely.
Oh yes, because he was also in. What was it? Quest for
It was,
the
it's called Jedi Temple Challenge.
Jedi
It
Temple
was a
Challenge. It's killer.
children's game show where his character's name was Caloran Beck.
Yeah, Kelleran Beck. Ahmed Best comes back to reprise his awesome role as the Sabered Hand, Kelleran Beck. You're gonna be okay, kid. Has this awesome moment where he just levels a bunch of troopers, throws one off the edge, uses two sabers like it's
Yeah,
nothing.
picks
Just
up a saber
awesome.
and just in case you didn't know, he dual blade. He fights him off.
Yep.
Gets in this cool chase scene with a Republic speeder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy that the clone drop ships are still firing at him in the
Yeah.
middle of traffic and at the buildings.
Yeah.
They did fire indiscriminately, and he's flying through. We get to see the good old mountaintop again.
Yep. Some tunnels and flashbacks of other chase scenes and kind of like little hints to Attack of the Clones and uh, just awesome shots of Coruscant and stuff. It was also just amazing to see Ahmad Best get to be Killer and Beck
Yes.
again, because
Well,
he had a very much like
yeah.
the young gentleman who played Anakin Skywalker had a very rough time after that movie came out, because people were, to be honest, people were
Hateful.
unnecessarily fucking mean.
They sent him several death threats along with several people from that movie. As somebody that was their first theatrical release of Star Wars, I loved the movie. I thought Jar Jar was great as a
Yep.
kid. I still don't think he is the character people destroy him as. I can't believe people don't ever go after actors for a
Yeah.
character. If you don't like the character, blame the writers, blame the people who produce it. He's just acting out the role that was given to him. If you don't like the role, don't blame the actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we get to see him back, and it is kind of justice, that he gets to be himself, as you can as a Jedi. But he's not. He's
Yeah.
not. He's the first CGI'd character, and he did a great job at it. And now he's back being himself.
He was there
awesome.
because that's the thing, is like Jar Jar was there to replace C-3PO and R2-D2 as comic relief, and they had to put it in one character. And again, George Lucas was like, this show is kind of for people under the age of 15. So yeah, it was taken so far. Jar Jar Binks had, and as a character, Jar Jar Binks had a horrible life after the Empire took over. He was sent back to Naboo and then forced pretty much into homelessness because no one wanted him, because he was the senator who brought, apparently everyone blamed him for bringing Sheev Palpatine into power.
Even before the episode 1, he had a terrible time. He was banished from his home. Nobody liked him. The place he grew up in, and he can't go to Naboo because they don't accept him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, the big thing is, like, they don't interact with each other because they kind of almost, it's like this unspoken racism, hatred against each other. And since he's banished from his home, he just is wandering the jungle because he can't go home.
Yep. But I was super happy to get to see Ahmad Best get to really be his Ahmad Best, because it was
if we
dope.
believe what we're kind of hinted at believing, we almost see Jar Jar kind of redeem himself also in this episode, because we see a familiar Naboo ship.
Yes.
This ship has been seen used. This is a scene that we only see used by Naboo senators. The only people who have used this ship was Naboo senators, and so we see this ship most of the time with Padme, but she does not use a ship at this current time.
Right, she's living on Coruscant. She's
and she's also preoccupied at this very moment as well.
Very pregnant.
So this is not her ship. She does not use the ship at this current time.
I have not thought of that. That's an amazing point.
Plus, there is a scene in Clone Wars where Jar Jar actually uses the ship as his ship. So he has that ship. So I think this ship, also to reinforce the senator part, the men on that were like the guards that were working on the ship were the Naboo Senate Guard.
Yeah.
And currently Jar Jar is working on the Senate, kind of as a Padme replacement. That is
such an amazing idea. I love that. Yes.
I'm 90% sure that we just had the guy that played Jar Jar playing a new character that is flying Jar Jar's ship to save Grogu.
Love it. Love it. Jar Jar kept it. Probably no. Jar Jar would have 100% been like, "Oh no, Prima the
Well, they,
Shippa, get it ready for the Jedi. They needed the help."
well, I mean, the fact that they're immediately willing to help, either he instructed them or they just the Naboo love Jedi
Yeah, the
still.
Nabooians love Jedi.
But I think he. I like to think they're gonna put out a series where Jar Jar helps smuggle Jedi off Coruscant. That's what I'm hoping that we
Ah,
get.
yes, yes. I would love that. I would love that so much.
And plus, it seems fitting that he would fly Jar Jar's ship. Plus,
Hmm.
the Naboo ships are awesome. If you
Oh,
can't
so
tell by
gorgeous, so
what Din
gorgeous.
ships, they were my favorite growing up. The
Yeah.
chrome ships were so cool.
Well, and I love it though.
Um,
He's also just like he's like, okay, you all stay out there and protect us from the Coruscant Guard. I mean, this is the first time we're really seeing Coruscant Guard in live action, isn't it?
yeah.
We got to see the red clones.
Are you talking about the? No, we've seen them before.
Oh, I guess
I
with
think in
Palpatine,
episode
yeah,
3 we see them in episode 3 a bit.
that's right. But we haven't
Yeah.
seen him in a while, so yeah, we get to see some of the Coruscant Guard, and they immediately start fighting with the Nabooian senatorial guards. They jump in the ship and they just they're out. Nope, bye, gone, leaving.
Yeah. And then it switches back out of flashback where
So
we get
hey, maybe
armor
Kelleran Beck is out there chilling with Quinlan Voss. Maybe.
we like so eventually Grogu does get taken by the Empire. So something happens, but this is we just know from Order 66 to the Mandalorian. So maybe he was, until I guess the Inquisitors maybe took him at one point.
Who knows? Because he's definitely in the same pram that we see him in with Order 66 when Din finds him. So,
But yeah, and he's under Imperial control, but they still are just now experimenting on him. So my guess is he hasn't been at the Empire too long, or if he was, he probably was just like in prison, which isn't normal for um them to do with Jedi, unless they're just waiting for him to get older. But still, they didn't save younglings, so I don't know. It's my guess he probably was on the run for a while.
yeah.
Maybe we'll get some more flashbacks. We'll get the Boba Fett treatment.
I could see that. Yeah, chilling in a back to tank, just thinking about stuff.
God, that was so done. That was done so bad. We wouldn't know what happens, but no.
But
Anyway,
yeah, so he gets his rondel chess piece, his nice not mythosaur, his nice mud horn.
You get in case you didn't think the awesome chain link was good enough, he gets more
Be-
Beskar.
Beskar chainmail and a Beskar rondel, and next he's gonna get a Beskar, I don't know, ring.
I like to think that because Beskar is so hard to get, that a lot of these guys, and that used to be the canon, and it's not fully confirmed canon, but these guys, and we kind of get that with Din where he gets shot up and he's not deflecting off, that they're not using full pure Beskar. But Grogu armor matches Din, which gets deflected easy, which means he's using almost pure Beskar. So Grogu also is getting spoiled with like pure Beskar armor.
He's more armored than Ragnar is.
Yeah. More than any of the foundlings are.
Right.
Like the only thing he's missing is literally that, because all they have is helmets essentially.
Yep. So speaking of younglings, then this is after that we're gonna get back to the hunting party out looking for Ragnar. This is where we get a lot of those wide shots we saw in the trailers of a Mandalorian group walking. That's here, and it is Bo leading them. After they get out of the ship, they fly as close as they can, then get out of the ship. They're not going to use their jetpacks at all because they know that it will alert the creature. Yes. So they're going to go to the mountain and begin scaling it. But before they get there, they have to make camp. And this is where we get to see a big question answered. As they're all sitting around, as they're all sitting around the campfire, they distribute the food, and then they start getting up and walking off. She looks to Din and goes, "How do we eat?" And he goes, "Oh, you go find somewhere where no one can see you, and you eat." Hilarious.
But it's funny. It's like, how do they eat together? Well, the answer is they don't.
They don't.
My first thought was, I was watching that scene where they're all around the campfire getting food out. My first thing is, I looked at my wife. It's like, it'd be hilarious if, like, just because she's still new to this process, without even thinking, she takes her helmet off, and they're like, they just all look at her
apostate.
Like. I guess I was going back anyways.
It's like they just look at her like, we'll give you this one just because we get it. But no, yeah, and she gets to get up as well. But then even Paz again showing that he has a little bit more respect as she's helping find his son and like helping be a good Mandalorian. Says no, you are the war leader of the party. You have the honor of sitting by the fire, and he walks off and they eat.
Well, he still respects the code and
Yes.
how things are done, and yeah, he's starting to respect her,
Hmm.
because she's willing to get a son for her and risk, life.
Yeah.
And they talk about the biggest honor for the creed is to save a foundling, which we kind of find that later. But yeah, so this is, this is very honorable, and she's essentially, because she knows where it is. She leads, and that was a question my wife asked: is why does she get to lead the party? And it
Hmm.
makes no sense. She's joined. Well, it's not that she just joined.
She has the
Not
most
only because
information.
she knows where to go, has the most information, and also she, out of all the group, has the most experience in leading. And even they know that. They
Yeah.
know she is a famous Mandalorian. She's led. She's been Mandalore for a short period of
Yeah.
time. She's led parties. She's led groups. She's one of the most. She's probably the most experienced Mandalorian in their clan now.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, it would. They have to admit that she knows what she's doing, even though she has failed. I mean, you don't always succeed, especially when you lead. You have failures, and that's
And
just
that's why
something.
the creed has redemption in it, because that was
Yeah,
the whole point. You just have to redeem yourself. And they so wake up. The next scene we see him putting sand on the fire, putting everything out, getting back together. She tells them, of course, no using your jetpacks,
yeah,
as it would alert the creature, and they begin to scale the side of a giant mountain, pretty much a big
with
cliff,
their with grappling hooks
which is
and
smart. You
their
use the grappling hook to kind of get a safety line, and then climb. And then they climb pretty much the whole way up. They do it very
yeah.
quietly. Eventually, Din kind of gestures, "Hey, there's the nest."
It's so funny that Din and Paz, who are the most armored out of all of them, are like the second and third fastest up the mountain. And the amount of armor and also heavier armor like Paz
Oh
has,
yeah,
it's gonna be so hard to climb. And they're keeping up with Bo, who's got like no arm, like super slimmed down, easy. Like, she's got an easier time than anybody.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I just think it's funny as the rest of the Mandalorians are like struggling, and Paz is over here, giant jetpack and minigun, and he's got this full like hard to move around maneuver armor, and he's like,
No problem. He's just climbing, man. Just climbing. He's got to get his boy, because as they get up there,
yeah,
they see the heat signature, and Paz just guns it. He's like, "That's my son," and that's where we learn that it's his son, even though they told us last week on Twitter. Um,
right
just
into
throws right into it, and it's not his son.
the
It's
bird
three.
babies.
It's three baby raptor thingies, and they are not cute, and they're very hungry and pissed off.
And then immediately the mother swoops in, and they all hide as it starts to vomit out Ragnar, the son.
Now, a lot of people I've seen confused about this as to how the hell he survived pretty much overnight inside the bird's stomach. He wasn't in the bird's stomach. When a bird is feeding their young like that, a lot of the time it actually sits within like the esophagus in a special little like extra pouchy thing they have. So he was kind of just chilling in the thing's throat. I don't know why for, sundown, all of that, he was chilling in there, but he was.
I mean,
Plot
it
armor.
might not have been too. It could have had where the creature could have stored it somewhere and then re-swallowed it to deliver it to the
Yeah,
babies. It could
true.
have been a thing too. It could, and some birds. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's not too far different from what we have in our current
Yeah.
how birds currently feed.
But this isn't very
Um,
different that apparently it's happened before, because
yeah,
when they first got to the nest, we do see another what looks like youngling Mandalorian helmet in
yeah.
the nest, which was very gruesome. Ugh, but
My
awesome.
first my first thought though was when he started leaving the mouth of the
Hmm.
bird and he was dropping out. My first thought was, why didn't they just shoot him then? I was like, just shoot him right now. He was out of the mouth. They can't eat him. Kill him
Shoot
now.
it! Shoot it!
But they jump out as he's feeding the babies, and it grabs him and flies off. And they have this whole sequence of them flying after the
Yep.
mama and the kid. Um,
Trying to stab it, doing whatever
yeah,
they can to get at it, getting at the eyes, until eventually they pretty much end working together with jetpacks and the grappling hooks are able to wrap it up a bit, stab it to where it finally looses Paz out of its mouth because it had grabbed him and took off.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Then it lets go of Ragnar from its feet as it plummets into the water and is swallowed by one of those giant alligator things.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Hey,
the bird, not the kid.
Yeah, the bird. The giant raptor thing is eaten by
In
one
case
of the
there was
alligators.
enough
And Din,
episode 1 references, there's always a bigger fish.
always a bigger fish. And of course, Din, doing his Din Daddy goodness, saves Ragnar. Yeah. And well, there we go.
And they fly back.
There. They fly back. This is when we get to see that this is the highest honor.
We kind of get a goofy gauntlet clap as they return.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
clapping their...
Yeah.
It makes sense because when you clap with their gloves, if you've never done it before,
Yeah, if you have gloves on, it's so muffled.
It's so not, it's kind of down. Yeah, it's not as exciting.
Yeah, so it's the ring ting-a-ting of Beskar.
It kind of seems so cheesy, them going like this. I'm sorry, it looked cheesy to me. They have to do it somehow, I get it. But yeah, they do this new gauntlet clap.
Man, now Mandalorian cosplayers are gonna have to have metal gauntlets so that they can do that.
But yeah, and then they bring them back, and they're like, "You've honored yourself," and they say, "Well, we also got 3 new younglings to add to the clan." And
which I was like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" And then there we go. They brought the little chickies, and they're gonna tame themselves some creatures. Which is foreshadowing. I'm calling it right now. It's foreshadowing for taming a mythosaur.
But it's definitely an upgrade to the jetpacks because they're faster and they fly farther.
Yes.
So yeah, and they're very strong as we've seen.
And speaking of armor, as Bose was damaged and she lost one of her pauldrons in this fight,
and
the armor offers as a reward more or less for leading the war party, being a good success, being a great leader, and all that kind of thing, bringing honor to the Mandalorian way to make her a new one. Brings her inside and begins to talk to her about like what signet, and she begins bringing up the idea of having a mythosaur. Which I love this because the armor's like the mythosaur belongs to all Mandalorians. Of course you can have a mythosaur signet. Every Mandalorian can have a mythosaur.
Yeah, I was like, and that was like common practice for the longest time. And even Boba Fett wears a mythosaur, so it wasn't unique, I guess. And that's also the thing too, is, and I kind of mentioned the last podcast, is when we get to her kind of ending of the pre-Mando purge from the Empire.
Yeah, the
Mandalorians are really convoluted. They're not fully united. It's very political, very feudal. So we probably don't see where we see they're more focused on their clans. We see both clans instead of what as the previous in Legends, how we viewed Mandalorians and the Mandalorian cosplay. A lot of the idea was you get a mythosaur, the same spot that Boba Fett did, kind of as you belong to the Mandalorians, and then you'd have either your clan on your other one or on your breastplate. Sometimes they'll do the breastplate, and then and they'll have like their specific, if they're like a super commando or whatever, they'll have like a symbol there. But that's kind of like the idea of they're kind of bringing back to the old ways where it wasn't so political, it wasn't fully based on clan first, it was Mandalorian first, Creed first.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome that they're kind of reverting back to that idea. That's why I was mentioning earlier at the end of our podcast, I think that's where we're starting to get new additions of aliens, because it's no longer bringing Mandalorians in by birth. It's now anybody can be a Mandalorian. And example of that, the first alien that we've had return to being a Mandalorian is Grogu.
Right.
He's considered Mandalorian. He's not human. So we may start getting more alien Mandalorians because they're opening up with the Creed. So.
And again, maybe the guy with the kid with the leather helmet is different, and that's why they had to do that instead of metal.
Yeah, you'll have to show me that later.
I'll send you some shots. Yeah, I'll send you some shots. This was an absolutely banger episode, and it kind of ends on a really open question because Bo opens up to the armor saying she saw a mythosaur.
Yeah, we all get visions when we go on the walk.
Hey, it's crazy. Yeah, this is a real fun time. You see stuff. It speaks to you. She's like, no, like I literally saw one. And she just goes, this is the way. And it ends. And you're just like, Oh, what? Okay.
I will say the Mistler did reveal to Bo-Katan first, but it did appear to Din. It did choose Din first.
It chose Din and showed itself to Bo, which is why they're gonna be a power couple. I don't care what y'all say. Everyone's like, no, Bo-Katan is queer. Yeah, she's bi, and she's gonna end up with Din though. I'm sorry, he's a himbo, and they're gonna have a power couple, and they're gonna make a lot of really awesome Mando babies. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't care, but something is gonna happen. The two of them are gonna be a power couple in the sense of either ruling together or being together.
They're gonna be the adoptive parents of Grogu.
Pretty much. I mean, she's acted like a mom the whole episode to Grogu in the very beginning. It's hilarious. She loves that little guy. She doesn't want anything bad to happen to him or Din, no matter how much she might refuse to admit it.
I really hope Grogu does get a helmet though, because it's gonna look so silly with his ears.
I've seen a lot of really cool designs of a older Grogu.
I sent you that one where somebody did the Boba Fett armor of Grogu. Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it could work. But no, this was a really great episode, an amazing episode, just because of all the like stuff we got to learn about with training and younglings and challenging judges. You know, because there's a specific judge for these challenges. There's a specific way that they fight and train as younglings and fight one another.
Yeah, it was a big lore drop. Again, we get some background stuff, some like, you know, the same thing with Andor. We get some like fill in the blanks. So, what do Mandalorians do if they believe in this? How do they eat? You know, if they believe in the creed, this version of the creed, how do they clap, or how do they train? You know, they train by shooting in a lake with rockets and blasters. But we also get some story connection, some background on Grogu. We also get Bo-Katan being accepted better into the Watch. Other than she's redeemed, you know, still there may be some doubts by the other members, but now she's kind of proven herself as a loyal member.
Yeah.
She put herself on the line to save a foundling. So yeah.
And it worked out. So this is definitely going to probably, I think it really further cements her enjoying herself at the moment in the Children of the Watch. And we'll just have to see what happens with this whole Mythosaur thing and what's going to happen between her and Din and the armor and Paz. Because there's going to be a fight soon on Navarro. You know, we've seen all these shots. Something's going to happen before too long. So who knows how it's going to go down, but I'm excited.
So next episode, we do not have a title, as they don't typically reveal titles ahead of time.
Yeah.
I would say the director for the next episode is Peter Ramsey, who's also as one of the directors. I don't know if he's for per episode, but he is slated as a director for Ahsoka.
Okay.
So we know we've been kind of hinted by Rosario Dawson that she's going to be appearing in an episode soon of Mando. Yep. So this could be it with her. Also, John Favreau himself is a writer, so no co-writer next episode, but you know, this could be the drop we were wanting.
And it's the beautiful thing about the podcast, everybody. We do it on Fridays. That way, it's this nice little in between to carry us over into Wednesdays when we can have more awesome Star Warsness. Of course, we're going to have plenty more stuff on the channel. I've got some figures to unbox. I've got some comics to break down. I've got all kinds of fun things to talk about. And we got to get more into Leather Helmet Boy, because I'm so curious if he's another alien. That'd be awesome. Maybe he's like a weak way or something.
Well, you know, so last episode, by the way, it was the shortest we've had. It's 33 minutes. But anyways, yeah, to promote your boxing episodes. Boxing episodes are very important now since they no longer have the plastic front. You can't see what the figure looks like anymore. You have to open the figure.
Yep.
So if you're ever interested in Black Series figures and you've seen them but you don't know what they look like, tune into this channel to see what they look like.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to do the unboxings. It's almost like ASMR. I'll start going over some of my older collection. Just recently went to Planet Comic-Con. Awesome time. Had D. Bradley Baker sign my 3.75 Rex right there. That was super cool. He was a great guy. Really awesome to talk to. But hope you all had an amazing evening with us here. It was a great time getting to just again nerd out about these amazing things that we're getting from Star Wars. We're getting High Republic books coming out soon. We're getting Jedi Survivor soon. Battle Scars, what a great book that was. We're getting more comics. We're getting Celebration soon, guys. Next month is gonna go crazy, and then we've got May the 4th coming right around that corner. Like, it's gonna be an amazing time coming up for Star Wars news and announcements.
Especially since Mandalorian is definitely amping up to something, so we are gonna
Yes,
get some big drops.
I can hardly wait. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your evening. Thank you all so much, and as always, may the Force serve you well.
And may the Force be with you.
All right, and now I